Little black book. You know what time it is. Time it is. Time it is. Time it is. Time it is.
You're jealous.
Yes.
I mean, you're definitely fine. So
Thank you. Would I be asking too much if I asked you for a kiss?
not yet. I mean, first we have to figure.
Those comments because you feel safe. It's when you feel there's a chance you can grab this really exciting or dangerous guy, you start making those kind of comments. And it's like, you don't need to do it. You're selling yourself. Stop. Don't sell it to him, right? He knows he's a good looking guy, okay? Let the energy play, all right? And that gives you, and also that gives you more time. Because once you're dancing, you don't have to put yourself forward straight away. You can give yourself a bit more time and see his movements. Once you say that you know, oh, you're good looking, oh my God, you sold yourself. You think he doesn't know?
I mean, to her defense, okay.
You want to defend her?
Okay, I'm not her
I'm not
lawyer.
saying she's bad.
Just to, give a little nuanced perspective
Go for it.
here. I hear what you're saying, and I agree. Like, don't compliment a guy. Guys typically don't respond well to compliments anyway. But like, he was asking her if she thought he was F-boy, and she said, well, you're good looking, all these things. And then her continued statement was, but these are all the characteristics of an F-boy, right? So she said all that to say that these things were giving her red flags of like, this guy could potentially be an F-boy. And so I think this is where Nikita, you'll see her, start to go back and forth with her head, trying to figure out whether or not he's an F-boy. So, I mean, on that regard, like, I definitely think, like, in general, you don't want to over compliment a guy like too soon, because then he'll think that he got you in the bag for sure. But I think in this context, she did say these things, but also to kind of like
let him know why she's doing that.
I think the way she ended it still kept him on his toes, So she's like, yeah, obviously you're good looking, all this type of stuff, but I still am speculating if you're an F-boy or not, because that's typically how F-boys come across. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Like, given how she kind of rounded it out.
I think the moment you have to speculate whether I'm an F-boy or not, you're in a bad place. Yeah, you're in a bad place if you're having to speculate that. Do you know what I'm saying? And again, you have to call my bluff, right? So if you are going to continue this process with him, you have to call his bluff. He actually, look, when he asks, do you think I'm an F-boy? Do you think he's asking to see, do you think he's asking? He knows exactly, listen, it's a two-way trick. It's a bluff. Once I ask you, do you think I'm an F-boy? She says no. What's he going to do? I'm going to now try to persuade you I'm not. And that in itself is seductive in itself. A man that's trying to persuade you that he's not something else is going to become seductive.
I've been judged based off of my appearance a lot.
Right. I'm not the type of person that's going to take a rumor and run with it. But one of the guys said that you basically...
Because now he's going to try and show you through effort and show you through his energy. And now you can't even trust the movement. That conversation should have never happened. She should have never disclosed anything about being an F-boy. I thought you have to play coy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if CJ would have done this. I don't think CJ would have mentioned it. Oh, you're an F-boy. Maybe she would have. But I needed Nikita not to do this. So if anyone else is watching this, understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't compliment a man. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when you're not sure whether this man is an F-boy or not, you don't need to mention those things, right? Because if he finds you attractive, you will know. If you find him attractive, he's going to know, right? But he's never going to be sure, because it's never come out of your mouth just yet, when you're trying to decipher whether this man likes you or not, right? And whether he really wants you or not. We're talking about that particular situation, not a normal situation between you and your Nike. Don't go out there, ladies, and not compliment your men. All right. I don't want relationships to break.
First impression,
first
like
impressions, dating.
Getting to know.
You're
Remember,
not really sure.
Just met. Exactly.
Just met. Yeah.
Like, they just met. They don't know each other, so it's this first impression.
It's fresh.
You have to do it the right way, and I agree. Even the women have to navigate these men, because they do have to figure out if they're a boy or not. And if they show their hand too soon
early,
or don't play their cards right, then they can get fooled, you know? And so Yeah,
I'm
I
not saying,
mean,
by the way, I'm
we'll
not saying
see it
what
play
she's
out in
bad.
different ways.
I'm not saying she's bad, by the way. I'm saying in that moment, I don't think she realized he's still playing.
Definitely.
He's still playing. He asked that question on purpose to see where you stood, and then he knows what next move to make. If you said no, he goes, okay, fantastic. I don't have to do much work then. If you say yeah, if you say I think, and remember how she answered it. She said, and that's the problem I had with it. She,
You know, I don't want you to take this the wrong way.
No.
Because I think you're handsome. I think you're very attractive. I think you take care of your image. I can tell.
when she answered it by saying, oh, but you know you're a good-looking guy. Da, 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 da. When you say that, you're not confident in your answer, because that shouldn't be your answer. Him being good-looking is not the answer why he's an F-boy.
So how do you
Even
think
if-
she should have answered that question?
You just say, listen, if she says, do you think I'm an F-boy? It's yet to be seen. And you leave it as that. Yet to be
Yeah.
seen. The little that's said is what keeps us on our toes. Keep the mystery, right? You're not saying either or. It's almost like yes or no game. You don't want to say yes. You don't want to say no, because that's definitives. You want to keep it as maybes, but you can't say maybe all the time. So you go, it's yet to be seen, right? And he's going to think to his head, okay, I'm not sure if she thinks I am or not. I'm going to try and do what I need to do. And you let him play. Don't go, because what she wanted to do was almost like assure him that she's not being rude by saying, oh, I think you're a good looking guy. You know when you soften someone up, like I don't want to be disrespectful, but then you end up being disrespectful. It's like, don't cushion it. Just be like, hey, look, do you know what? It's yet to be seen.
But you know
That's
what,
it.
Kojo? I think it's so interesting that you say that, because women, we're conditioned by society to like coddle other people's feelings, or
It's
like
true.
to not come off as offensive, or
I agree.
whatever. So I do feel like, because of societal conditioning and her trying to be, a feminine woman or whatever, she's approaching it from a different level of mental calculations than like
yeah.
a guy would, So she's gonna try to soften the blow, try to come off as nice. Like, she's gonna start out with saying positive attributes, and then maybe throw you
real
into the
stuff,
negative attribute, because she knows that she sees you as an F-boy. And but I think the main takeaway is, ladies, you don't always have to answer their question,
No,
right?
you don't have to.
You don't always have to reveal the answers. Like, for me, I probably would have threw the question back at him, like, do you think you're an F-boy?
Yeah.
Like, you tell me. Like,
No, but wait, Maria, why would you do that though?
because, like, he's obviously information gathering, to try and figure out where he stands. And like, yeah, if I give him too much, he could manipulate me or play into that too much, just like you said, so too much too soon. Remember, it's initial impressions. There will be time for you to get deeper into feelings and emotions and stuff like that, but this is your first meeting with the individual. You can't play your full cards all out there like that, because then he's gonna know how to move for the rest of the time. So,
And that's it, Maria. That's it. That answer is a beautiful answer. You just threw it back at him. Oh, you think you're an F-boy? That's it. Done.
Have great energy. For me, those have all been signs of an F-boy for me in the past. But I'm trying to expand my mind and not.
So yeah.
And then you can assess what his answer is to
Answer
that.
is,
Because then he'll answer and be like, what? Oh, no, I'm not an F-boy.
I'm not F-boy. And you let him
Right.
sweat. Let him sweat. Like, okay, so let me say this. Ladies, don't feel afraid to let us sweat. It's part of the process. Those who are sweating, you will know. Those who are quitting, they're not for you. You know that those who are F-boys will show themselves. And those who are good will stand the test of time. Because if we genuinely care about you and want you, we're going to stand the test of time. Those who are going to play the game when they're sweating, remember, it's almost like you go into a shop and you're going to rob the shop. Those who have nerves of steel, right? Now, unless they're elite level, which most men aren't, okay, they're just opportunists. Unless they're elite level, they haven't got nerves of steel. Let them sweat, okay? You see how CJ played Casey? Let him sweat. His balls are sweaty now. You know what I'm saying? He sat down and he wasn't sure what the hell was going on. He had to, his brain was doing all zzz. You understand? Let the man them sweat. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be rude. Just let him sweat. Like, I love your answer. Do you think you're an F-boy?
Like,
Boom.
you tell me. Like,
You
I'm
tell
not
me.
supposed to be telling you.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to be
whether or
telling
not
you.
You're an F-boy. Like, how am I supposed to know? I just met you.
I just met you. Yeah.
So,
So you gotta show me. You know what I'm saying? Boom. Now he's got to do it. Do you know what I mean? And you just watch him. Yeah.
Garrett just walks up to me and Colin. He was making me feel uncomfortable. I need a double shot, please.
I told you, double, make it a triple.
Garrett.
Now, what's really interesting is that she said that guy just walked up to her and Colin. Did Colin not come on there and still Cameron? But what it was, the difference is the way, it is the energy, it's the movement, it's the language, it's the talk. It did seem a bit creepy the way he did it.
He was like hovering, like never hover.
Yo.
Like I feel like don't like. 'Cause he didn't
Be decisive,
actually-
basically.
Yeah, he didn't actually pull her away and say, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you for a few. Like, would you come with me?" Like he came over here and was like, he paused, hesitated, came up, came into her ear, and was like,
I would love to have 2 minutes with you.
Garrett just walks up to me and Colin. He was making me feel uncomfortable. I need a double.
And then he paused and was like, probably breathing heavy too, and like sweating up her ear. And then he was like, "Oh, can I get?" He was like, "No." He was like, "I would love to have.
I love to have 2 minutes of your time."
And, you know, all this type of
It
stuff.
sounded
And
mad
it's like,
sexual too. Like,
yeah, it's just like the way you just did that, and you actually just made a statement. You were just like, "I'd love to have 2 minutes of your time."
You
didn't
overcompensated.
actually assert yourself to say, would you like to take a walk with me really quick, or like, you know, whatever the case. So it kind of was awkward, because what is Nikita supposed to say to that? Like, okay, like, and then afterwards you're still hovering, like, because you didn't actually make a move to like progress the scenario. All you did was make a statement. You didn't actually, you know, make the next step. So now you're just standing here hovering, looking awkward. It was just an awkward moment. And yeah, it came off a little creepy.
Yeah, the movement. I think, again, tone, delivery, just your whole energy, your vibe, how he said it came off creepy. It's really odd. Like I said, there is a way to deliver lines according to you that won't seem creepy, right? And you're always seeing creepy as well when the person doesn't find you attractive and you say something that's like, and again, this is where we're talking about Peter, the same situation. If you're offensive, and what was offensive wasn't what was said, it was the tone, like, and the pauses in between. The brother was like up in here, and then he said, "I would love to have 2 minutes of your time." I said, "Nigga, I said, sorry."
Weird.
It just sounded, there was too much pauses in between what you were saying. It sounded sexual, but then it wasn't. You ain't got that leverage, and then, you know, you're saying it right in her ear, right in front of these guys. Again, the person who says it sometimes is important, and you just didn't have it. You didn't have the pizzazz to do it. He should have just pulled her aside and said, "Hey, look, I would love to have 2 minutes of your time. If you're done with Cameron or not, or done with what his name is, Colin, I would love to have 2 minutes of your time and have a chat with you." Done. But he tried to be cool, and that's the problem. He tried to be cool, and it didn't come off.
It didn't come off, and I don't think Nikki is attracted to him, like, at all. Like, I don't think
any of those kind of men.
Exactly, like, he is not her type, like, in the slightest. And so that's another reason why, you know, that was never gonna work. It was always gonna come off as creepy to her. Like, literally, the threshold between creep and it's okay is whether or not the attraction is there. I'm telling you, guys can fall into that creepy zone just off the mere fact that I'm not attracted to you, so therefore you are creepy. You know? So you doing that, and then the way he did it was, and he just looks like older than everybody else, and like a dad.
He's older than this.
He seems on the elderly side of it. Yeah. So, I mean, you coming off with the dad energy, trying to be cool, and it's like, it was never going to work for him. I don't know if he had approached any of the other women like that, if it would work either. Because, I mean, we know that Nikki is not attracted to him, but how do we know Sarah's not, you know, thinking he's attractive or something?
Well, I mean, that is, you know.
What, Kojo? Say it.
I mean, it should be closer to, you know, thing, but that's not her preference. Her preference is dark meat, Sarah. Her preference is dark. And I ain't mad at it. I ain't even mad at it. Do you know what I mean?
Of course you're not mad at
That's
it.
why they supplied so many black men on the show, because he also has a preference for dark skinned meat. Like, honestly, because there were so many of them in the show. But yeah.
I would love to have 2 minutes with you.
Garrett just walks up to me and Colin. He was making me feel uncomfortable. I need a double.
It weren't it at all. It weren't. He actually did the whole, and he didn't even do it into. He actually did the sound. You know, I would love to have 2 minutes of your time. I'm like, bro, you are not KG, and I'm gonna need you to back up.
Yeah.
He thought that was sexy.
Bumps were like coming on my like shoulders, because I was just like, ew, because like now you are in my personal space. And it's cold out here in these streets, and you're just like, just breathing all down my neck. It's not cute, especially
real talk.
If I didn't, call for you, don't come. Like, it needs to be like some level of connection across the room, some level of chemistry. Like, there needs to be an energy drawing us both to each other, not just you just like thinking randomly out the blue, like, let me go whisper in her ear. Like, I mean, and you can do that, but I guess the way you did it was like maybe not coming so close.
Yeah. It was odd. Man said real talk, real talk. Yeah, I think he was trying to be black
real
too.
Talk. Oh, ooh, I didn't even pick up on that.
Maybe that's what he was trying to do. Trying to be like cool, and it wasn't working.
Real talk.
Be yourself. Real talk. Like, be yourself, bro. Like, okay, Garrett, be yourself. Okay, that's why you have to write a poem at the very end. So we go to a poem.
On the other side, it's calm and it's warm, because when we find love, we're no longer a storm.
Freaking hell, sir. That's the first time I actually heard it. I didn't watch it when it came on.
Of cringe. Like, I was like, dude, don't do this.
Oh, bro, that is not it, bro. That is not it, bro.
It was a
That is
sweet
not
gesture, though. Don't murder him, but it was a sweet gesture. He was trying to be sentimental and heartfelt. I mean, how many
I don't even know her to be doing. But we don't know each other like that, cause for you to be writing poems like that, cause.
I know I'm being facetious.
You know what I mean?
That moment was crazy. Like, dude, like, you're in her bottom two. Okay, like, she just told you that, like, you were trying too hard. And then you pull out a written poem. It's too much, like, just be easy, my guy. Like, you don't have to overdose it.
Oh, he overdosed it.
Like, he overdosed it. And it was just cringy. Because everybody was like, I don't think this is going to go over well. Exactly.
I would love to have 2 minutes with you.
Garrett just walks up to me and Colin. He was making me feel uncomfortable. I need a double.
Exactly.
You're doing too much.
Yeah.
You're doing too much, and that's the simple truth. It is what it is. I'm not hitting on the kid, but it was just a little bit too much for me. Right, so
why do you think, like, he felt the need to, like, do too much like that, though? Like, why do some guys do that?
They're socially awkward. That's probably why.
Okay,
socially awkward. He's maybe socially awkward, but then has got probably got a good job, earns good money now. Do you know what I mean? Probably thinking, he's probably got a little bit more confidence, but hasn't really worked on his game. You know what I mean? Hasn't really worked on how to really flow in the midst of women. Like, I'll be honest, like when I was younger, I was the funny kid, but when it came to the women, they weren't seeing me anything more than the funny kid, bruv. Do you understand? And so you have to learn skills how to interact with women. So one thing that's why I said about innuendos, right? I learned how to mix innuendos with humor, right? And you have to understand your position, that you can't do that to every woman. So you have to be able to see that the person's got. That's what I keep saying about buying. You will see by the interaction you have with that person whether you have a buying to make certain comments in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? If it's the first time I've ever met you, I have to observe at least, or you must have given me something that makes me think definitely, oh no, this girl's into me, so I can say this line early. Do you know what I'm saying, right? But if I've just met you and I haven't felt, you haven't given me any signal that you're feeling me like that in that way, or you've given me a look that way, I'm not gonna make that comment. Let's keep it honest, keep it a real, good conversation, and let's see what happens. If then it gets to that stage, then fantastic. There are other women that I know, I've known for a longer time, that are elusive to me, and I wouldn't make that joke because I know where it would end up being. It'll be like, bro, like, I don't feel like that. That you are stupid, because you should know that this person's not giving that signal. So people who are socially awkward don't know how to judge the signals very well. And so they use the same tactics everywhere. The problem with that is that just like the manna bread in heaven, okay, guys, you need to eat it fresh every day, okay? You can't be using the same thing every single time. You know what I'm saying? You got to assess the environment and the land that you're in, and then you can make your decision. And that's what I'm saying about not rushing. That men do this out of fear. He was saying about, I had to get a time to talk to her. No, bro. If you had been very strategic, taking your time, observed, you could have known how to approach that situation. You wouldn't have approached, yo, real talk, let me get 2 minutes of your time. Like, you wouldn't have done that. That would have not been on your plan.
So you think he probably approaches other women like that, where it has probably worked, and then he's applying that to like all these other situations, and then that was like a club scene.
That's what it was. When you're in a club and you know the person can't hear you, so you have to talk into the ear, like, but you don't need to. It wasn't a club scene.
Like, there isn't loud music. Like, I can hear you. Like, but you know what I think that is too? I think it is a certain lack of confidence that he has, because even him leaning in that close to talk to her, it took away the opportunity for them to look each other in the eye.
Ooh.
And for her to like actually see him or whatever. And when he leaned into like whisper in her ear, he's like looking off to the side.
I would love to have 2 minutes with you.
Garrett just walks up to me and Colin. He was making me feel uncomfortable. I need a double.
Side, like he's doing these pauses. Like, I think it does show a little bit of a lack of confidence, to where you're not allowing me to see you stand straight up and just talk to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then he whispered it, meaning he didn't want the other guys around to hear what he had to say, you know? So if he got rejected, or if she didn't say anything or whatever, it wouldn't be as much of a bad rejection, you know? So.
You're right. You're right. And that's what also adds to the creepiness.
Yeah.
Right? That's what also adds to the creepiness. So, unfortunately, this did not go down very, very well. Like I said, it's just him in general. He's overshot himself and not really assessed the environment and the land. Had this been Colin come over and said, yo, real talk, let me get 2 minutes of your time, he might have said it in a slightly different way. Tone might have been slightly different, and it might have worked, because of the way that he carries himself. I didn't see him as that kind of type that goes to your ear and goes, real talk. I didn't see him as that type. So I'm confused as to why you real talk. Bro, like no, real talk. Like, sir, you are of the Caucasoid. Where's the real talk coming from? You know what I mean? Like, you trying to do something, like, and maybe he's approached a lot of black women. Maybe he likes black women. Do you know what I mean? Because evidently it was Nikita he was going for.
Because he didn't have eyes for nobody.
No one else. It was straight on Nikita. So he likes black women. So it's probably worked where he is, but that's not a sign of that it's worked over there. That's a sign of you not understanding that you just found a little knack that works, but didn't understand it. You know, when you understand something, you know how to use it almost like it's part of your body, and it maneuvers and changes depending on the environment that you're in, right? The same way, like if you're walking up a hill, you walk up a hill, your body changes and adapts to the angle and the incline. If you're walking straight, you're walking straight. Your body will change because it's part of you. You understand it now. You don't have to think about it. But when you have to think about it and it's not your natural, inclination, that these signals that you have to learn how to do, then you become awkward in those scenarios, that when you are in those moments, you do certain things. And that's what I'm saying to you about men that are socially awkward, don't know how to read the room.
Right.
Don't know how to read the room. There's certain girls that I know, just from even having a little interaction, I can drop this bar. I can. And it will work. And it won't be awkward. And there's other guys I'm like, no, don't drop that bar just yet. The tension, you're going to spoil it. Don't do it. You have to know. You have to check the signals out. So, yeah, he's awkward. And now he's writing poems. And then you write poems at the end? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Now you're really creepy.
He didn't read it.
He didn't read it.
The room.
You didn't read the room.
And the creepiness
the poem
is
either.
like you're trying to be an undercover person in broad daylight. Like we see
you.
And we can hear you. Like,
you breathe in?
Right, like we saw this couple like come up with all these black people. Like we see you, bro. Like,
you ain't hiding. We can see you. Okay. Trying to pretend you're invisible. Yeah. So they definitely is. Yeah, they